Hello, property nomads. Hope you're well. British drivers are rejecting the government's 2030 petrol and diesel car ban, which is in a blow to electric vehicles. However, the issue, as we'll see in this video, as we'll go through the article, the biggest issue here is that, surprise, surprise, the mainstream media are negating the most important aspect of electric vehicles. And as usual, they are focusing on the wrong things. I will give kudos slightly to the Daily Express here, but as we'll see, they are really not mentioning the biggest con of electric vehicles. So let's go through the article. So yes, British motorists have failed to back the government's petrol and diesel car ban. So in a nutshell, Boris Johnson ages ago pledged that by 2030 that there would be a ban on the sale of new combustion vehicles, and that as a result of that we should go all electric vehicles the way forward. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Shoving a climate emergency and climate change section in there as well, and we'll all sing and dance around the maypole until we all get our electric vehicles and be happy and live in equilibrium forever and forevermore. For those that aren't overly familiar with English, that was entirely sarcastic. So what has happened though is that demand for electric cars has dramatically fallen, with road users still concerned about costs. As we've said time and time again, the issue with environmental policies is that on paper, assuming that paper is eco-friendly, on paper, everything sounds okay. Everything sounds good. You know, let's do this, let's do that, let's have things this way, let's have things that way. And most people could probably sit around a table, nod their head and go, yeah, I'd agree with that. That makes sense. However, when someone then gets the bill out or gets a check out and says, well, hang on a minute, there's going to be a couple of billion here, a couple of trillion there, a couple of billion here as well. How do we pay for this? Oh, well, we can just tax our constituents. Yeah, there's a bit of a stumbling block here. Maybe our constituents, maybe the people don't want all of these costs passed on to them. This is the issue with environmental policies, that they might sound good, but when someone's got to get around to actually paying for them, it's a no bueno situation. So demand for electric cars has dramatically fallen because road users are concerned about costs, and quite rightly so. Price is one major issue. 80% of buyers believe that vehicles, the electric vehicles, are too expensive to purchase. Okay, fine. Auto Trader, which is a massive car magazine here in the UK, they're saying that electric models are supposedly around 33% more expensive than petrol and diesel cars. And again, in the economic times that we're living in, people are finding things very tough. Are you then going to want to pay a third more to get an electric vehicle? So the article just goes on, a lot of people citing costs, and other issues include charging difficulties, so particularly those without off-street parking. So if you've got to park in the middle of the street, as is quite common, is there an electric vehicle charging point? If not, how do you charge your vehicle? Good question. And this is putting off a lot of drivers from being able to make the switch. This is where I start to give the Daily Express and people commenting on this, my respect goes out the window as such. If it says here, financial incentives are needed to help level up the affordability for those drivers not able to benefit from salary sacrifice or company car discounts. Now, the challenges with any financial incentives is who pays for that, because if that involves printing more currency, because we need to install more charging points, or we need to improve the grid, or we need to do any of this, that means that the government / Bank of England is going to pretty much print a lot more currency. And if you do a lot of currency printing, that's going to help to increase inflation. So in my opinion, that's a no bueno, don't do it, not good. This is why with all these wind farms, solar farms, all these sorts of things, government just chucking subsidies at everything, or grants, I should say, and then people getting heavily subsidized over this isn't good for you, and it's not good for I, because ultimately it costs us at the end of the month. Once drivers are able to go electric, they will enjoy the financial, driving, and environmental benefits and not look back. No, absolutely not. This is where, as we said at the start of the video, this is where the true cost, the true environmental cost of electric vehicles are not being mentioned. What does it take to produce an electric vehicle? It's going to take batteries. It's going to take a lot of components that need to be put together. The cars are then going to be produced. They're going to need to be transported to various countries around the world. How are they being transported? What does it take to produce car batteries? Last time I checked, that's going to involve a lot of mining. Mining is quite a dirty business. So actually, you are better off just buying a good old banger, a Ford Cortina or something like that, or a diesel vehicle or a petrol vehicle, because the environmental impact of that vehicle being made is not as great as the environmental impact of an electric vehicle being produced. And no one's telling you this. No one is telling the people that the environmental damage that's being created by the amount of electrical vehicles and solar panels and wind turbines, etc., is probably doing much more damage for the environment than if you and I just went about our daily business as normal, as we have done for the last 15, 20 years or more. Let us just go about our business. Please stop ramming electric vehicles down our throats because the cost of them is too high. The infrastructure is not there. And on top of that, the cost or the environmental cost of producing an electric vehicle is very, very, very damaging to the environment. This is what you're not being told. This is what we're not being told. This is because the mainstream media is either being incredibly ignorant or they're being told by higher powers above, hang on a minute, let's not let the people think we must do this under the guise of climate change, do this under the guise of a climate emergency. By the way, let's subsidize all of this while we're at it. And as a result of that, that means we can print a lot more currency and we can kill the people, not quite literally, but we can kill the people through more taxes, higher taxes, and great. So they can all come under the system and they need more government help moving forward. Hopefully, you're starting to see a clearer picture that this is all nonsense and that we're not being told the truth. That's why we have this channel. That's why we say to you, either at the start or at the end of every video, please do share this, share the Property Nomads with as many people as you can. Go and subscribe to the podcast. Tell other people about the podcast. Tell as many people as you can about YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Use the notification bell to get alerted when new videos come out. Why? Because we need to get as much of this information out there as possible. We can produce the content and we can share the content on our socials. Then you can share the content on your socials, because we need as many people listening to this as possible, because we are being driven, pun intentional, down a very, very dark path, and it is no bueno for anyone. And the mainstream media are being told either not to do this, or they are being incredibly ignorant to the true story, which is what is the environmental impact of producing electric vehicles. The reason they're not telling you, because they don't want you to know. Why? Because the truth hurts. The environmental cost of producing an electric vehicle is much more damaging to the environment because of all the mining that needs to be done and all the components that need to be done and need to be produced. It's not good. Please subscribe to the channel if you already haven't done so. Tell as many people as you can about Property Nomads. Thank you very much. And until next time, we'll see you in the next video.